Okay, here we are. I think we're live. Let's double check the chat to make sure this is working. Beautiful. Good stuff. I'm just going to put myself in the top right hand corner. Hey. Right. What we're going to do is we are going to talk about the AM1004P, which is this module here by AMSynths. This is a companion module to the Behringer 1004 oscillator, which is part of their 2500 clones or 2500 remake series. Now, you guys might remember, if you're part of my channel, that when I bought this, there was a problem with the ribbon cable connector on the back after I finished doing the little mod. So what I had to do is I had to reverse the cable. Let me just unconnect that for a sec so you guys can see. So I had to reverse the cable on the back, which has got these little keys here. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. I guess I can zoom in on that so you guys can see how it's got the key. But on the other side, if I take the power out and this out, you'll see that that's the bit that I've cut out, and that's the normal part. So you can see modules will only have a key on one side, so I actually have to have this plugged this way around for it to work. Cool. So that seems to have fixed the manufacturing fault, which kind of sucks because normally you'd think that they would send you another one, right? I was a little bit disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. All right. Now, I'm just going to go through what this does. Okay, so I've plumbed in the first four waveforms on here. So you've got sine, triangle, square, and saw. This has got 5, so we'll go to pulse later. And the Mordax data has connectivity. Straight through, and we're going through the Behringer 110 module. I'm just going to take my jacket off because it's getting warm in here. All right, that should be the sine wave. Let's turn the sine wave on. There we go. Cool, there's the sine wave. You can see it there. Hopefully the audio is coming through nicely. Let me just double check if I can get the pop-out chat to work. Go. Cool, pop-out chat's working. Just copy that. Right. And what we're going to do is, just with the pop-out chat, just paste that in, so if I need to show any comments, I can get those going on here. Hey Steve. Cool. All right, so everything's working. Audio confirm for me, please, buds. Right. Okay, so how this is going to sort of play is, we'll go through each of the waveforms just really, really briefly, and you guys can. All right. There's no effects or anything on that. Let's go now to the next waveform, which is the triangle. Pretty cool. Now we'll do the next one across, which is le square. And then we'll do the sawtooth. Turn that one off, that one on. Just one thing to note on the Modular starter, the actual position of the waveform, you can actually bring this thing down and up and all sorts of stuff, right? Doing that will decrease the size, you know. So I guess for the different waveforms, we can turn them all on. There we go. And then we can show you them all at the same time. There you go. So there's all the 4, but we've also got a 5th, which is pulse. Now what I'll do is for pulse, I'll go back to the square and I'll just move the square down to pulse. And you can see the pulse now, and we'll turn the others off. Now you notice with pulse, I've actually got a modulation going through, which is going through here. It's an LFO. If I take the LFO out, you'll see that it will stop. Put it back in, and then let's have a listen to that. We can speed that up. Slow it down. So there's good old pulse width mod and pulse, right? So just take the pulse, the modulation out for a second. I just want to show you the range of the pulse. Goes to there. So it doesn't go through 0. It doesn't actually close the waveform off. Some oscillators do, but that one doesn't, which is actually what the 2500 did. Okay, so another thing to notice is on this, if you connect directly into these outputs along the side, it disconnects this kind of mixer system that you've got on the right, which comes out as a major output. And I'll show you. So right now, if I was to play a note, it would give me a square only because the square is disconnected. So you can hear it. Now, nothing's coming out. I need to actually give that some gain. There we go there. And then got a little bit of a VCA amplifier mixer thing here. But what is cool about this is you can actually, so instead of us going through this, what we're going to do is we are going to put the output of this now into Modular. We're going to get rid of all of these and disconnect them here. And we're going to use the mixer side of this. And with the mixer, so right now you're just getting a, let's probably need to change this to channel, what are we on, channel 3? And 3. And then we'll just go to auto. Norm. Alright, that should be behaving relatively normal now. Right now, all I've got is the square wave mixed in and the pulse mixed in. So we can take the square wave out. let's mix a sine in with it. So you can see already it's curved all those. Let's take the pulse out and put the square back in. So you can see as I mix that sine, how cool is that? Well, we can put a triangle into this. So we get that triangle. This is actually kind of getting close to like a mini Moog square. Yeah, it's got that. So that bitey sound. So that's that. So, and then obviously you can do other stuff like take the square out, put the saw in, take the triangle out, and then with this, let's just make this a bit bigger. Yeah, move this down a bit so we can actually visually see this. All right, so there's our sawtooth. Right, but let's mix in a sine with this, and then we get that rampy, like exponential rampy waveform. Oh, and look at that, how it just pops over. That's kind of where I wanted it. Maybe I should back that off a bit. No, I don't want it there. I want it there. It's crazy what it's doing. Oh, look at that. We can give a sine a bit of a buzz. I mean, it's infinite waveforms here, isn't it, guys? And that's what this does. It just gives us that infinite ability to produce our own sounds. But not only that, we can also still use the output of the module itself, and we've still got the invert and normalized output on there. So let's just show you that. So that, to just pick any of those outputs, we'll go into channel 1 just so you can see. We're not going to hear it, we're just going to see it. Okay, and at the moment it's got a line across because we haven't got any waveform selected. So if I bring in a sine wave, but I do an inverse sine wave, sorry, a normalized sine wave. Interesting. It's almost like that is the inverted sine wave to that. Didn't know that, but what we can do now is obviously we can use that output there and put that into our VCA over here and mix them together, and it would give me a cancelled out sound. But we could do that. We could do that indeed. So why don't we just bring that up. There's our two waveforms. So now we're actually blending the output of this with the output of this to get even more crazier stuff. So that's a triangle. That's an invert. Or phased. It's almost phased as opposed to inverted, but yeah. let's do pulse, which is down the bottom. Cool, that's going to make some interesting sounds. Just remember with this though, this is only just one oscillator, and you've just got all the different outputs of that oscillator. So if you were just to use this alone, this mixer alone, you're not going to get that pulse width sound anymore. We'll crank that right up. And if we bring this back in, now we have our pulse width. Why don't we do the opposite? So instead of pulse width on this, let's sine wave on this. So you can see it there. And then back off the sine wave off of this. And then put the pulse width on here. Now we're getting a bass sound. It's quiet, so we can pump the mixer up over here. And that's without any effects. I feel like there's some distortion happening above 12 o'clock on the mixer here. Don't forget too that these outputs are all normalized to unity because it's a VCA, but Eurorack is always hotter than a line level, so you know that's the other part of it. But yeah, put the pulse width back in, it should be very loud. Now we can start introducing filter effects. Crazy stuff. I like it. I like it. I like it. That's just one oscillator, and I don't know. This makes this kind of oscillator a lot more. Oh yeah, add delay. Shit, yeah, hell yeah. In fact, I can do it on the mixer. I got the magneto. Let's do the magneto. We can get that rate down if you want. There's my rate knob. We can take magneto off and put a Ableton delay on it. Which one is it? I don't usually like to use Ableton for stuff, but you want to have a time-based delay as opposed to a clock-based delay. We can do that instead of syncing it. So the left we're going to set as 10 milliseconds. And the right we're going to set as 50 milliseconds. So we got a little, it'll kind of ping across very, very subtly. And we'll do a 40% feedback on it. Sorry about the dog. And it's got a ping pong enabled on it. So it's just, this is mixed in with the original. Let's do an arpeggiator. Sync that, to be fair. To be fair, we should probably sync that. To do that, I need to go up one here. All right, now we're synced. Clock is now synced. And then we should be able to do this. Let's give the left channel on the delay 1 millisecond, and we'll give the right 10 milliseconds. So this is going to be almost like a Carpenter Strong type thing. Here we go. Add a delay on a delay. Okay, let's do one more thing to make this sound even more interesting. Let's, over on the Eurorack system, I don't have the camera, I should probably put it on, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We will go into the Juno 106 chorus. Where are you, baby? There you are. Alright, so output of that into the Juno 106, into the Juno 106, out of the Juno 106. Left and right. Right. Left. Right. Okay. We're going to go type 1 on the chorus. Here we go. Alright, let's take off that Ableton delay and we'll put the magneto back in. Right. Let's just turn one of the channels off. In fact, let's turn the arpeggiator off for a sec. Here we go. Now you can hear the chorus. Some shimmer. Okay, we can do some shimmer. We can do Valhalla. Pretty decent shimmer on that one, I should say myself. Let's chuck it into there. Actually, let's take the Valhalla off. Let's take the Valhalla off. Let's put Eventide Black Hole. Eventide Black Hole. Very, very famous. I want to get that bottom end up a bit. She distorted then. Instead of that pulse, let's do the square. And we'll add a bit of sine in. Let's just turn this one off. Doubling up on the oscillator, we'll just use the mixer now. 3. Yep, about to do that. Just waiting for the MPC to boot. Probably would have heard it go just then. That's the MPC booting up. Let's choose some drums. So we're going to choose some drums, we're going to go into my kits. We are going to get I am going to get a, is there a 909 in here? Let's do a 909. Or we could do a CR78 if you want, or a Lin. Let's do a 909. Just load that up for me. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? There it is. Load a baby. Not the best sounding 909 if I'm going to be honest. Maybe we should do the 78. I really like the kick on that. Okay. We're going to do the Lin. Yeah, it's a bit more 80s, there we go. Now we just need to sync the MPC. Sorry, that just changed because I just synced. Alright, here we go. I stuffed it. Let's record again. Alright, we got some drums happening now. Let me just mix those a little bit for us. We want to use the pad mixer. Where did you go, pad mixer? There you are. Really like the hat on that. This is what happens when you start getting into drums. Where are we? Yeah, so let's load to there. Alright, now we've got some 80s sounding drums. Let's go to 128 as requested. Let's modulate that. Alright, I've just MIDI'd that up as a little clip. So gate is hopefully pitch is and then we will what's going on here? That's gate. I'll do it the other way around. Pitch. Why not getting pitch? Is it too low or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now we've MIDI'd it and we've got that working. We can now run that as a clip, and now we can introduce other instruments like Pro 800. Anyway, I think we've had some fun with this. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Juno 106 chorus, Lin drum. Don't get any more 80s than that. Let's go back to syncing. Selena. I can do a Selena. I'm actually going to buy myself one of those Behringer Selenas eventually. Alright, let's do it. So we want a high Selena. Tone reverb. Let's give it a bit of an attack on this. Get that real Selena sound, it's more just make it interesting for us. Alright, let's get some chord progressions happening because I'm getting sick of that. So we're going to copy this. Let's go across to Ableton so you guys can see what I'm doing. 1 second for Ableton jump. Okay, chord progression time. So we're going to go, should we do a D? Should we do a D? Let's do a D. We'll start with the D. And then we are going to go, we're going to do three chords. Yeah, we'll do a 3 chord. So we're going to go to 12, to the end of 12. All right, so there's the D. Let's just copy that across. How come you're not moving over, you stupid thing? Okay, copy that once. Copy that twice. So there's our 3D D chord arpeggiators. Let's just zoom out a bit. So the first one is going to be D. And what should we do? Should we do a D minor chord progression? D minor. I don't know if I want to do a D minor or a D major. Maybe we'll do a D major. So the next one we're going to go up to is a B. So we're going to drag all you guys up to a B. Should we do a D, G and A, or a D, A and B? Why don't we do a D, A and B? So that's, where's A? A is there. That's G, that's A. D, A, we're going to go up to A, and then we're going to go down to B, or no, down to G. I think we'll do it down to G. It's just a very simple one. So we'll do, that should be G there. Cool. All right, let's have a listen to that. Now progression. I kind of feel like we should change this up a bit. I kind of feel like we need to take these out here, and then we're going to move 3 in, copy those, no, cut those out, paste those in there, and then on the last lot of G's, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the last lot of G's, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to delete all of those. Delete. Oh, mouse movie. And then we're going to go to there. That should bring us back to a different, yeah, so that's going to make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, it kind of works. All right, now we've got the take off our little and guess what? Our oscillators aren't in tune. Isn't that interesting? Interesting. And also, I don't know if you noticed, because I just did, that everything is starting slightly off. So we need to move that across to there, and that across to there. And there should be another one of those there. So that should now be let's get this working. What's happening? Why is this not behaving? Okay, good. Now it's behaving. Right, now we're going to do is we're going to tune this oscillator. So to do that, we're just going to do this. It should be a D, right? Yep. It's close to a D. let's try it now. Okay, we're not quite there yet, boys and girls. Okay, I feel like that needs to be okay, we can do a little trick here where we can bring that up to there. Let's have a listen to that again. Okay, I feel like that's got to go there, and we've got to get rid of that. It's kind of got to climb. That's better. Yeah. Right, let's get rid of our little thingamy here. I'm going to turn you off for a sec because we don't want you. Alright, and then what we need to do now is we need to record a little chord progression here. So we want to do a D, an A. I think we can probably throw a B minor in. It should sound good. Okay, so a B minor, I don't know, B minor 7th maybe? Because then we get that F sharp, don't we? So we could do the, you know, the E, G, B, or, I don't know, B, D, F sharp. Let's just try it. That obviously needs to be an A major, right? So I mean D major. But did we want to have a... Did we want to have the B? We could go to the B. We could go to the B. Just don't want this thing kicking off arpeggiators. Alright, we could do the... We'll start with the D anyway. The D is we're just going to do a D major. So, or should we do a lower one? I think we'll start with the. I think we'll start with this, the D. The D. So, where are you? Where are you, mate? You're up there. Okay. I'm umming and ahhing because I don't know if I want it to be a major, but anyway, let's just do it anyway. Okay, so let's drag that across to do a bar, and then let's get some more bars happening. Okay, and then we're going to do the next progression was at, what was it again? It was 10 bars, not 12. 10. The next progression was at 3. Was it 4? It was at 4. So we're going to go to a major. We'll do a lower A major. Yeah, we'll do a lower A major. It was at 4, wasn't it? So we need A. There. Hey. Behave. You, go there. No. There. So we've got the A. And then the C. There we go. And then the E. Let's just see what that sounds like and see if we need to change it. Of course you're not going to play, are you? Because and then the last one will be the G, B, D, 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 G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D. And then we are going to do, we're going to try and do that B minor 7th in there because I kind of feel like that fits in the key of D. So I was going to see if that fit in either here or here, maybe there. So B minor 7th is a B, D, F sharp and an A. But we'll just do half a chord. B, D, F sharp. This kind of might sound interesting because I don't have I have a different chord playing underneath it, and it's not a D, so that might sound a bit funky. But let's see what happens. That one didn't work at all. What did I do wrong there? I thought there was a G there on the 7th. It is a G on the 7th. Did I not do a G? Oh, I did a G sharp. G. That's what it is. Sorry. Typo. I kind of feel like that's ending on the 10th. Yeah. So this was supposed to be back here. Move when I tell you to move, you bastard. Okay, let's try again. Okay, cool. That works. It works kind of funkily. Alright, now we extend these bastards out. So we get blending chords. There you go, that's why that works. Play. Now these little suckers, they need to start a bit later. That one needs to bleed in. Let's see what happens. To come in earlier. Trying to get that second chord progression working better. No, it's got to, maybe it's got to actually come in early. Hey James. That's done that. I'll show you what I was doing before. Swinging around with these. And that's what that bass bit is. So that is going... This is like a mixed oscillator. So it's got a bit of sine wave with pulse width. And you can see the pulse width happening here. Then that's going through a Juno 106 chorus, an actual proper BBD chip, proper analog Juno 106 chorus by feedback modules. And then that's going through back into my DAW, which you guys saw here. So now the MIDI is actually controlling it. So this MIDI here is controlling it. So we'll just play that again so you can hear it. We're just using D major as the chord progression. So I think that kind of works. So we can do an A major. So that's kind of nice. You do your A major there, but then you drop your root A down to a G. You could do the same with a D major with the 7th, so you could do a D. So there's your D major, and your 7th is... That's the Pro 800 that you're hearing there. I kind of feel like that's kind of nice. It's a little sad though, it's a little sad, whereas before it was more majory happy. I kind of find sevenths and minors tend to give the same feel. Even a diminished. We could do a diminished. I mean, technically that's diminished, isn't it? So we're doing like a... That's a major, right? This is a diminished. I feel like the Pro 800 isn't responding the way I want it to, though. I think it's probably got too much of an attack on it. Now I do have an editor for this. Editor. Show me the editor. Editor for the Pro 800. I can't remember where I put it though. Hang on, date modified. That would help. Don't think so. Don't think so. Let's just check history. Pro 800. History. Pro 800. There it is. Oh, you can download it. Oh, sorry guys. Wrong button. Select a device. We want this. Open without USB. Yes, we want that. Alright, so we don't want any attack. Let's turn all the attacks off. Let's get some exponential envelopes happening here. So we were doing that. I wonder if we just loop our first loop, which is there. If we loop that and we turn U off, and then we do our got in the way. I nearly got it right. It's a little stretch of the finger. finally fixed that higher note issue. I kind of feel like we can work with that. So it's a, and then it brings in the top. So we go. I mean, that's probably just a D major with the top D. Then you got your diminished. Yeah, it kind of works. Okay, so record it really badly. This is what I do, guys. I record it really badly and then I neaten it up. Here we go. Actually, instead of recording the audio, let's just bang that out. We don't really want the audio, just that. I want to record the MIDI, so I'll do the MIDI first. Let's do it again. I think we got it. Let's just try. Are you serious? Of course you're serious. These have got to start all inside there. Okay, so this is where we get funky, guys. This is where we get funky. Let's bring all this back to the start. And then we bring we can get rid of that rubbish there. And we can bring that back in. And that kind of goes there, doesn't it? There. Is that too early? Let's try it. Oops, I forgot to extend this out, sorry. It should go out to... go out to really there. See what happens. So it's gone too long to go. feel like all of that comes back to there, and then all of that comes back to there, and then we delete that in time. We delete time, and then we go out to here. Probably should be 14. Try again. Okay, I know what I did wrong. So this stuff here, we need to, oops. This stuff here, here. This stuff here. Delete time. And then we bring you back out to a whole bar. There. Right. There. Nope. I need that to go there. Yes. That note there has to carry through. That note there can get stuffed. Try again. And 14. Did it feel like it went too long or too short? I feel like maybe it's too short. So we kind of need to, move all this and this to the right a bit. Like a bar. So that's one bar. And then two. Maybe there. And then that should have that note carried through. And that note carried through. Try that. Back to the bar. Back to the bar. Sounds like a good idea. Let's go back to the bar, guys. Back to there. Let's see what happens now. And then that should be where we start again. Okay. That's easy fixed. So let's just end you there. How do I slice you? There, and then put you there. How do I slice you? Oh, stop snoring, dog. Okay, we can do this now. But then there's a little trick. Once we get that to repeat, then we get that to extend out. Let's try. That's when it needs to go back down. Is there. So, in which case we delete that. We delete that. And then these three extend out. One more bar, one more tiny little bit there. Oops. Come on, let me in. Let me in, you bastard. Stop. Stop. That. One more in. And then that, my friends, is where we end that particular loop. Let's try it now. It's tricky. It's tricky. It's very tricky. It definitely needs to go longer, but I don't want to extend it right out because you're counting divided by 3. I mean, it would end up being a 28 bar loop for it to sort of sit comfortably with your head, but it's too long. So I want it to sort of reset about there, but that could possibly be the time that it needs the chord change. So instead of it looping, we should stop the loop. yeah, that's a good time to do the chord change. All right. And then, yeah, I think that works. Save as you go. Oh, geez, what's been going on in chat? What has been going on in chat? I think what we can do next is, before we do the chord change, right, we can do something different, like, let's just keep that looping for now, because we just want to work on this. So the next thing we need to do is find a different instrument, right? Now, what did we do before with this? We just had a strike fet. That's right, the strike fet was doing the thing. So we can just have the strike fet playing that chord. What we could do is we could bring... Bonnie, you are so loud. Seriously. Any louder, I swear. Any louder. We want to get MIDI in, and then we want to go out to channel 14, which is... that should be... The reason why we're not getting any sound is because I need to fix something. Dig. Now we're going to bring the peak in. Peak it, baby. Peak it, peak it, peak it, baby, peak it. Peak it, baby, peak it, peak it. Peak it, peak it, peak it, baby, peak it. Alright guys, let's find a patch together. While we're playing this, we want something melodic, don't we? Something melodic. We've already got our paddy sounds. I don't mind bell sounds. It could work. It could work. We should do it as an arpeggiator. We could do it as an arpeggiator. And arpeggiator is going to go in here. We will do this and then make it arpeggiate like this. Bring that out to 16. Bring this one out to 16. We can just keep those two notes pumping through to there. Where's my little slicer? I need my little slicer. Yeah. Let's just do that. Try that. All right, cool. We should save this MPC project. What the hell? Save project. There. There. Space. Do it. Save. Hey, there we go. Cool. All right. This all started with me just playing around with this. And all we got at the start was basically, if we mute everything. Just that. And we shall end it here, boys and girls. Catch you later.